This is my one chunk Ironman chunk fill, and I'm starting off right here in Edgeville. To get things started, a chunk is an area of 4096 tiles, and a chunk account must complete everything there is to do in that area to unlock an adjacent tile, and so forth. These are my most notable tasks: obtaining 5 million GP for the respawn point, getting the Hill Giant Club from Obor, obtaining the curved bone drop from Hill Giants, and another 31 tasks mixed in for good measure. I'll be using Limpwurth's Xtreme rule set with a few changes, and they'll be noted down in the description. With that being said, let's explore my starting chunk. But first, it's time to clear out the items. And done. Anyway, I have a bountiful selection of trees, a singular oak, willows, and the famed Edgeville yew trees, Crystalia, and the iron mace. Yoink. Some men, a clan cup portal, nope, nothing in there. A general store, Dave's house, with a range, obviously the bank, a notice board on the bank, what does it say? And the dungeon. Let's go check that out. There are some typical dungeon dwellers, the giant rats, the skeletons, nothing too dangerous. Right, I should be safe to the zombies at least, since the skeletons aren't aggressive. Oh no. Run, run, run. Don't die, don't die, don't die, don't die. That skeleton was aggressive apparently. Right, I need to train up a bit, I think, before exploring further. The two options I can think of are either the giant rats or the men. But first, let's get an easy chunk task out of the way and talk to the emblem trader, and that is a wilderness medium task, if you can believe it. Done. Okay, on with the training. The man should be an easy target, with me being 1 combat level higher and all. I've only got 6 HP, but that should be fine. It, in fact, was not fine. After trading blows, we were pretty similar in HP lost, so we need to find something a bit more squishy to train on to start with. While waiting for my health to regen, I got thinking, there were giant rats in the dungeon. When there's giant rats, usually there is their smaller counterparts. They would be perfect to start training on. Hopefully there are some. Let's go check it out. The level 3 giant rats weren't aggressive, but the level 6s are. So let's see if there are some mini ones and if they're separate from the level 6s. Ha ha ha. There are. Let's tag all of them. Ah, there's 2. Perfect. Let's start by training up on them. With the discovery of the level 1 rats, and knowing they don't have the offensive stats to do damage, it is time to get to work. Easy as that. Level 2 strength, first level on the account. This is getting even better. I've located the spawn for a singular rat and can just spawn camp it. Saves a good amount of time with running around, definitely. Level 3 strength and 4 combat. And there is the first 2 on the account. 5 strength, 10 strength, level 14 strength, and now I can hit 3s. Since I can hit higher than the mini rat's max HP, it might work to swap over to the level 3 rats now. And since they drop raw rat meat, we can cook that, and that should be the most viable food source for this chunk. Level 3 attack and 9 combat. We ended up back at the mini rats. I graduated, but I was not ready. What happened is I managed to kill 5 level 3s, but lost most of my HP in the process. I need to get some more levels on the mini rats, then I can try again. 4 attack, very nice. 5 attack, and now I can wield steel weaponry. I think I can get some steel equipment, so actually a very useful unlock. Level 10 attack, and that unlocks black weaponry. Not sure if I can get anything there, but could very well be useful with a bit of research or in a later chunk. Now to train some defense. Pure status removed, 2 defense, 5 defense, so that's the steel equipment, 15 HP. I didn't realize that was coming, and there is 13 combat, which means the level 6 rats shouldn't be aggressive anymore. Let me just kill this one. Run. Are they aggressive? Are they aggressive? Are they aggressive? No. So now I can do whatever I want in this little section. Pick up bones, run around. Not a very useful little section, but very, very happy. One less monster in this chunk that wants to kill me. Very nice. Okay, 500th rat. Hopefully I can move on to the level 3s now without taking too much damage to grab some meat. And with this hit, I am 14 combat with base 10 melee stats. I realise now, after a little comparison, the giant rats have higher offensive stats than the men. Either way, it's time to get some revenge against the men. My time as a rat killer is over. For now, at least. For those of you who haven't second monitored this, there has been a lamp sitting in the inventory for a little while now. Obviously, I've been struggling to decide what to put it in. Hunter for now is a no, since Puro is close, and if there's a chance of doing a different hunter method, I'd take the variation. Agility could be viable with the Grand Exchange shortcut close by, but I don't really think it offers much of an advantage right now. So finally, that leaves a very commonly lamp skill, Slayer. With 2 Slayer Masters in this chunk and some decent gear upgrades from their store, this would probably make Slayer the most useful thing to lamp, at least for now. Let's just get this lamp into Slayer, and there is the first Slayer XP on the account. Only 8 more lamps to go for level 2. Only. Now, where was I? Ah yes, men. This seems to be going a lot smoother now, no chance of running away. Now it's more about, are they sustainable to kill continuously? Only time will tell with that one, I think though. Incoming with a cheeky strength level. That is 15 strength. So far it seems like we can at least get a fair amount of kills in a trip, so let's stick here some time longer. Ooh, that is a very nice drop to cover this very shiny head. Bronze med helm drop. Not much in the sense of bonuses, but lots of bonus in the style department. Prayer level 3, nothing unlocked until level 4 apparently, but still number go up. Oh, first runes on the account. 4 earth runes. These could come in very handy later on within this chunk. Level 4 prayer, and this is the first prayer unlock, the low level strength booster. I can't remember the name of it. Obviously would be more helpful with an altar, but it's still a good unlock either way. Right, we got an iron dagger drop. You're there thinking, so what? But looking at the task list, it's actually supposed to be the best in slot magic weapon with a +1 magic bonus. So that is a chunk task complete, and we have our first clue scroll drop. Sadly, it's a beginner clue scroll. Actually, that's quite close being in barrel. So I think we're going to keep that for now to stop more beginner clue scrolls dropping on the floor. Currently, there are no doable steps in this chunk. Easy clues, however, are a very different story. As I was saying earlier, it turns out even with leveling everything up, I have lasted a good while, but I'm down to 4 HP, so some food is definitely required. There are 17 raw rat meats in the bank, so let's cook them up. And with level 1 cooking, I'm sure the burn rate is still pretty high. Coming up to the end now, and we have burnt 8 and cooked 9. so around the 50% mark. And also got 4 cooking in the process, so that should be enough for another 100 plus kills on the men. Back at it again, and I have just got an easy clue scroll. Not doable, but I think this is the ideal time to give a quick breakdown on clue juggling, since it is relevant right now. To understand clue juggling, you have to look at the base concept of how clue scrolls work. When you have a clue scroll in your inventory or bank, you can't gain another, but if they're on the floor, you can gain another. If you do, you can get multiple, hence the term juggling. Therefore, I can get multiple clues specifically solvable in my chunk. There is one more specific that is very important to allow clue juggling to take place. Clue scrolls collected by being dropped on the floor can be done concurrently, which means they can all count towards the same clue scroll completion. 1 step on 4 clues is the same as doing 4 steps via 1 clue scroll. And that is all there is to it. This will come in very handy later on for this chunk. A bit of time has passed and I'm up to 20 defense, and with that I think I'm ready to continue exploring the rest of Edgeville Dungeon. I'm just going to cook up these 28 rat meats before I head out, and of the 28 we burnt 10, so 18 cooked meat for our adventure. I'm planning on avoiding the wilderness section for now, and the aim is to make it over to Obor. Maybe see how tough the hill giants are to kill, and then head back. Need to keep in mind that I will need food for the way back too, so can't get too carried away. Through the gates I go to where I hit a snag last time, or more specifically, they hit me. So, already going smoother than last time. Head over there. Oh no, pathing, no, bad. Okay, so the zombies are actually lower level than I thought they were, at only level 18. So they shouldn't hit me too bad. Coming up to the second gate, there's some kind of mine down here. Never actually mined here in my life, honestly. There's some iron, coal, tin, copper, mithril. Not too bad. Brass necklace, yoink that. Got to fill up the necklace slot with something. Don't think we can get any necklace with bonuses. Anyway, let's grab the brass key, because also, why not? And with that, I made it to Hill Giants, only losing 5 HP. Without further ado, let's get to killing some Hill Giants. I know I can flinch them somehow, but having a few difficulties with working that one out. But while I try and sort this safe spot and flinch, let's have a chat about the drop table. There are some decent upgrades to the melee setup. First off, a shield, a helmet upgrade, and a steel longsword that I think is better than the iron mace. It should be, at least for flinching. The main drop I want though is the giant key drops at a 1 in 128. And also the curved bone drop, which might save me a bit of a headache later, being 1 in 5,000. Apart from that, there are the typical herb drops, some decent seed drops, and rune drops, although not really in any decent quantity. Another thing to mention is they do have access to the gem drop table, but everything of note there is pretty rare and not too much of use without Legends Quest being completed. So this took a fair while, but the first drop from Hill Giants incoming, and it is a sapphire. Not sure how useful that one is, if at all. Took a decent amount of food, but we should be able to get another Hill Giant kill before heading back. And Hill Giant kill number 2 gives us cabbage seeds. Not the best drops so far, but I'm gonna have to kill a lot of these guys before this chunk is over. Even though I have trained a fair bit, the stats need more improving. The best choice right now, I think, is going back to men and getting some food from the giant rats when necessary. Back at the surface, and there is 20 attack, base 20 melee stats. Now on to getting base 30s. Incoming with 25 attack and base 25 melees. As I've been mindlessly killing men, it has dawned on me the sheer amount of combat needed to be done for this chunk, and therefore the amount of food required in the long run. So I've been looking up the possible food options in this chunk, and they are limited, to say the least. Obviously, there is the cooked rat meat, which heals a grand total of, wait for it, 3. There is also nettle tea, which is possible to be made, and that heals a grand total of, again, wait for it, 3. The only improvement over the cooked meat is it refreshes 5% run energy at the same time. There are 2 other options. You can get a rare bread or singular cooked lobster drop from imps and black demons respectively, but they are not fast by any means or even worth it. The final other option is food obtained from random events. They are slow and fairly rare, so honestly it looks like we're stuck with the rat meat. All that just to say I should really be training on the rats for food, but defense may very well be a priority. While I'm rambling, another thing to mention is around the rats there are 4 bone spawns in this little area, so that should help boost the prayer level a fair bit. So while I was off killing rats, I was also having a look at the task list, and it turns out the iron mace is a chunk task, being the best in slot prayer weapon. And on top of that, leather gloves are also the best in slot, and it never even occurred to me. Which means that's another 2 chunk tasks ticked off unknowingly a while back. It got me thinking, are there any other stupidly easy ones possible to do? And then I realised I had looked at Richard up here by the wilderness ditch, but never actually traded him. He sells team capes, so with that is another task completed by equipping the best in slot cape. Some more training done, and there is the final level 30 melee with 30 attack. I have 300 rat meat in the bank that needs cooking up, and then I think it's time to face our arch nemesis of the hour, the hill giants. Since we are going to kill Obor, we need to get the giant key, and also I can't help but think the steel longsword is an upgrade, so I could really do with getting that ASAP. 10 cooking, level 12 cooking, my cooking level is 15, 20 cooking, and now we can cook nettle tea, even says it in the chat box, though the burn rate is very high for a long time. Time to see how face tanking hill giants go. It's been at least 10 levels in each combat stat, so I'm hopeful to at least be able to tank it a bit better and get faster than 3-minute kills. The bar is pretty low. That is the first one down, not massively food heavy, but also not really viable in the long term yet. On top of that, a very boring drop of just coins. Skipping to the end of the trip, and I got 7 kills just face tanking them. Not horrible considering, could have done with any kind of gear upgrade, but the spoon was not meant to be. Anyway, let's get back there. Upgrade. Iron kite shield. I've been flinching though a tiny bit, but shh, don't talk about it because I just wanted some upgrades. So yeah, no, that's good all around. Take that. That has, hang on, so that's plus like 10s, and what's that? Okay, we really just increased our defense. That is very nice. Another 11 hill giants killed with a bit of swapping between flinching and tanking. The kite shield didn't make all the difference after all. And another trip done. I got some cosmic runes. Not sure if they're of much use yet, but could also be quite handy to have a rune source later on for enchanting jewelry. Something else occurred to me. I think I can upgrade my helmet more than hill giants could give us, so we just need some cash and we can have the equivalent of a steel full helm. So of course I am talking about the spiny helmet for 650 GP. A bit steep right now, but could very well save time in food gathering later on. And back to hill giants we go. And here's an interesting drop, a chaos talisman. Not useful in any regard, but that is a 1 in 1820. Hopefully this does not foreshadow dryness. Random level with 31 defense, looking like a chad, feeling cool. Collection log. Longbone drop at a 1 in 400 on the 60th kill. Very nice to get a pop-up, but where is that giant key at? There we go. Steel longsword, one past its drop rate at 65 kc. Shame we're not at the giant's plateau because it would have been a steel sim instead and infinitely more useful. But for now, I think it is better than the iron mace in the case of flinching, but not anything else. Was gathering more food, but here is the first Fashionscape random on the account, and bam! What do we get? The top. I am going to look much cooler with this on. Here it is, the first 40 on the account. 40 strength. That is required to wield rune weapons, but I need to get one from Obor first. 25 rare, which unlocks something relevant for the surrounding chunks at least, which is protect item. We'll definitely need that for the wilderness. Incoming, the giant key drop. Got a bit lucky with this at 81 kc. Very nice. Obor is shaping up nicely. And with that, I think a more solid plan for Obor needs to come into place. So far, this is our loadout and our stats. There are a fair few holes here and not many improvements we can make. However, there is a weapon, helm, shield and body upgrade. Although I don't know how much the armor will affect the kill, but the weapon upgrade I think could be huge. And that is the black sword. The black sword is a drop from the black demons in the wilderness side of Edgeville dungeon at a 1 in 32. So not bad, but they aren't anywhere near as easy as hill giants, so we need a strategy. The only two alternatives to killing them are to flinch them with the iron mace. Don't really like the sound of that. Or to use their magic weakness to tear through them. I like the sound of that one a lot more. But for that, we need runes. Probably lots of runes. Thankfully, there are a good amount of rune sources in this chunk, with a large variety of different runes. To knock these demons down, I'll need to use Wind Strike. So mind runes and air runes are required. Mind runes are easy to grab from the men, but air runes, there is only one alternative, and that is the Chaos Druids. Dropping 36 at a 1 in 42, so it seems like the wilderness is calling me. Let's get to it. Right, so Chaos Druids have a pretty low defense and only 20 hit points, so they shouldn't pose a threat. Taking some food since I have no idea how hard they're going to hit, but I'll be able to adjust accordingly for future trips. Another useful thing that can be used because we're in the wilderness is the looting bag, giving us twice as long between banking, since I'll probably want to pick up as much loot as possible for future grinds. 400 kills in now. They are still hitting a bit, but manageable. The air rune drop is a 1 in 40 something, but right now they're at a rate of 1 in 80 for me, so hopefully that turns around pretty soon. I figured now is as good time as any to talk about their other drops. So they're known for the herb drops, useless at the minute, but at least there is a viable source for way down the line for when herb lore is unlocked. The less talked about stuff is their extensive rune drop table, hosting a grand total of 6 different types of runes, all fairly common apart from the nature runes. Snape grass is also a good drop from them, and finally, another drop not too useful right now is mithril bolts, but once I manage to grab a crossbow, they will come in very handy. Trained defense for a bit to try and lessen the need for food, and there is 40 defense, which is required for when I grab some rune armor. Maybe I can spoon something from the black demons, otherwise it will be from Obor's chest. But now we're on to attack. I was going to do this a little later, but having looked up the possible tasks, I am at 49 combat. When I hit 50 combat, it decreases the chance even further to being able to get a Slayer task I can do. Right now there are 3 Slayer tasks which are possible, being hill giants, hobgoblins, or black demons. So let's grab a task from Vanica, and no, Calphites. I'm locked out of Slayer before we could even begin. Some tasks will change from this, but the chunk task to get a Slayer task from Vanica is complete. 27 prayer, which unlocks Mystic Lore. Could be a good magic DPS increase in the future. Very nice. And there we have 40 attack. Same situation as defense. This allows us to equip rune weaponry for chunk tasks. But the main hurdle, as always, is getting the item instead of the level to equip it. 30 cooking, and I'm not sure what that unlocks. Oh, apple pies. They are possible in a chunk close by, being the cooking guild, so I hope I don't unlock them too soon. It is time. I have 200 casts of Wind Strike. Hopefully we can get at least 1 black demon kill, but since my magic level is 1, the max hit until that goes up starts at 2. Therefore the focus right now is the magic level. I'm not fully sure where the safe spot is, but I know it exists, so let's hope I don't die before I find it, since I don't even have the protection press yet. Found the safe spot, no problems there. Now it's time to see number go up and up to level 10 magic, and coming in with the first kill. Took around 150 casts. Hopefully the next ones aren't as resource heavy, but anyway, what do I get? Coins. Not very helpful at all, sadly. Grabbed some more runes from the bank. I had around 400 stocked up in total, and in I go for the second kill. Just quickly, the drops that are S tier for me right now is the Black Sword upgrade, but there are also 3 1 in 128 drops that would be really nice, namely the Mithril Kite, the Rune Medhelm, and Rune Chain Body. But with the Black Sword being twice as common, I doubt I'll get more than 1 of them, but you never know. Second kill incoming, and I get coins again. Not fun, but 13 magic, so now Wind Strike can hit 8s, which is definitely a vast improvement. I think I can grab a few more kills, so let's get to it. Final kill now, and that is all the runes I have for now, and coins. I don't know why I'm surprised really, but back to getting more runes to get more kills, and then I'll be back. Incoming with 50 strength. First 50 on the account. Hitting 7s with the Iron Mace now. DPS is going up very nicely, but I think there's still room for improvement. Not too long after, and there is 30 prayer. So that is halfway XP wise to the first protection prayer. And in the blink of an eye, 32 prayer. Men is still the fastest way to gather mind runes, so it's alternating between the men and chaos druids as the fastest way to gather the runes for wind strike. 54 strength, 33 prayer, 55 strength, 34 prayer, and that is the last prayer unlock before protection prayers. Been stuck in this hut for a while now, and it starts to get the mind wandering a little. Like, why is there a plough in here? Is it for the ditch or the rose gardens in the monastery? Also, I have to assume this hut is some kind of storage base. Why are there 7 men hanging around in it and only 2 beds? The questions that will haunt us forever. 35 prayer. This may look like a random level, but here is 34 cooking. And with this level, even though it won't mention it in the level up box, the cook rate of raw meat is now 100%. So it makes the food gathering a little more efficient. 36 prayer. We have our first maze random. There are reasons to both the side chests for the drop table, but also reasons just to complete the maze for the main rewards. Right now we just need an attack bot, which I just got, and let's finish the maze for now to see what the reward is. Nature runes, feathers and death runes. The feathers are a new item for the account, and also the death runes will be very useful for future grinds. Looking at you, Obor. One of the NPCs that I've failed to mention because I haven't seen a need is the imps that spawn in this chunk. They are pretty dispersed, but running through a DPS calc, getting the blue wizard hat from them could be very useful. It actually makes a marginal difference to the DPS with the +2 magic attack bonus. Anything to reduce the men kills is welcome. Spawn camping this imp and kill number 18. I got it. The blue wizard hat. Magic best in slot obtained and chunk task complete. I've managed to gather up 500 more casts of wind strike. Not fully sure how many black demon kills it will get me, but hopefully we get spooned with an item. It's time to head back to the demons. Kill number 4, and that is air runes. Not the most useful, but saves me some time at the chaos druids. Number 5, and it drops a mithril kite shield. Yes, least useful of the 1 in 128 drops, but still a massive upgrade over the iron kite shield from the hill giants. Kills are taking around 50 wind strikes each, so the 500 should net roughly 10 kills. Hill number 8, and can we get it? Black sword 1 in 32. We can. Oh yes. We spooned it. We really spooned it. Run. Gotta bank that. Run. So we have the best in slot. For a bit of a comparison, the Iron Mace is weaker in most ways unless a monster is weak to crush. The melee strength increase as well will give us access to higher hits at the lower levels too. Not sure how it really measures up with the steel longsword, but this has to be better, right? Either way, that still took up a large amount of runes, so I don't really think it's worth continuing to hope to get a rune armor drop since it will not increase my DPS. There is only one thing standing on our way now to killing Obor, and that is 4 prayer levels to unlock Protect from Missiles. And then it is time to take on Obor. Also thought the stats are a little low still, so the aim is to go into Obor with 50 plus in all melee stats, since that is the recommendation on the wiki. 37 prayer and protect from magic unlocked. 38 prayer, so there is 50 attack and there is 50 defense. Managed to get all the way up to 59 strength, but there is 40 prayer while I've been gathering up some more food. Not much more I can do before I think it is time to send it and get the first Obor kill. Here we go. In the lair, brought an attack and strength pot, should help with the DPS a little bit. And also brought some random larger healing food from random events. Hopefully I don't have to rely on the cooked meat too heavily. Having a look at the wiki, the main points are keep protection prayers up, keep to the side so he doesn't push me back, and that's about it. Should be fairly simple. Let's climb down. So down we're going. 0, that's nice. Right, get to the wall. Why am I not running? 20, oh no. Eat. 9, not bad, not bad. Oh, we hit 10. 22, hang on, how am I meant to heal that? 12, yeah, sit me, I guess. So clearly that didn't work out how I planned. He's a bit of a tougher cookie than I thought, so let's just get through this first death explanation and into the grey zone and get back to the chunk. But obviously head on is not going to work. We need to come up with a different plan. On the walk of shame back, and while coming through the dungeon I got a genie, and with that lamp there is level 2 Slayer. It feels like the game is telling me to keep my chin up. It really does. I think it might be time to rethink the strategy. He's not as easy as I assumed, but I'm sure there's some way to get a kill with this gear and stats. I just have to research a little bit harder into the more obscure. I will get that kill next time. Thank you all for watching, and if you made it this far, maybe consider giving a like and subscribe. Anyway, I will be back and Obor will bow before me, whether he likes it or not.